still unavailable. And young Will Evans wears the open side shirt. Brendan O'Connor shifts across the start at 8, with mobility seemingly the buzzword.
Lots of battles of fairly famous names in the front 8, but for me the one that's going to decide the game is the battle of maybe some less well-known names. Will Evans against Guy Thompson. Thompson, 29 years old, he's done his apprenticeship all through Richmond and then the championship in Jersey. Evans, the young academy graduate who's burst onto the scene this year, firmly on England's radar. Who can win the battle of the breakdown?
The speed of that ball will be dictated by those back rows, but then this Wasps line is so electric. Not the biggest back line you'd expect to play against, so the kicking battle of Goppert versus Owen Williams will be crucial. But I just think that what Beale has brought to Wasps is a control, an experience, and that experience at 15, both him and Burns playing out of position arguably, will have big impacts on their teams.
A while since Richard Cockerell's voice was not part of moments like this, critical moments just before the kick-off. Aaron Major's been talking about an emotional week. Happy the focus and intensity has been where it needs to be ahead of a challenge that Wasps will provide. Leicester's players, publicly and privately, showing a united front. And a purpose once again in the stride of Tom Youngs, who was giving us a player's perspective and also a very personal perspective on Richard Cockerell this week. A sacking that hit him hard, talking about the support that Richard Cockerell gave him off the pitch as well during some difficult times family-wise. And there's a real sense, Ben, that clearly they're out to do it for Cockers today.
I think the impressive thing about Tom Youngs has been the message that he's been giving, that actually although Richard Cockerell is the man who's paid the price, it's the players who have to take just as much responsibility. You can't drop a coach, you can drop a player, but I think his message will be, we haven't lived up to our billing. We need to make sure that we prove now that with the clarity that's been given, we start delivering on the field.
Wasps, next to all the smoke and drama of yesterday afternoon at Allianz Park and Saracens' dramatic draw with Exeter, the opportunity now for them to fall clear at the top of the Premiership, heading into a month's break. It's certainly not been lost on them. 29 points from a possible 30 at home in the Aviva Premiership so far this season. As tests go, this is about as stiff as you can get this season. Really turned this place into an impenetrable fortress in 2016, unbeaten in any competition, 18 games, 18 wins, and here's the first at home in 2017. Beaten in Coventry, Austin, since Saracens did them here in December 2015.
Well, tells the story as well. Those games that they've lost have all been lost from a driving maul situation. Exeter here, Saracens here. That's where Wasps concede most of their tries at line-out time. That's what Leicester need to feed on. Get the ball off the field, attack the line-out, and then get driving. I think it's way too dangerous to open up against Wasps, particularly with that back line. But more so, the ball-carrying abilities of their back row is so good.
Well, I know Richard Cockerell is with us today. He's watching this at home right now, looking forward to it as much as we are, if from a slightly different seat. For the first time in a while, we wish him all the best at Toulon, of course. We're about to find out how the team that he built, how Tigers had to take the first steps in the post-Cockers era. In the strip that we missed, that fluorescent lime green. First job for Curtly Beale to take the clearing kick ahead of Tom Brady. Robson to Wasps captain today, Matt Mullen, bearing down on 100 games. He'll be aware that James Haskell's on the bench. I'm sure that Haskell not have been quite in the dressing room before the match, but early turnover for Tigers and for Brady. And Youngs was offering some support.
Just wonder whether Brady thought Youngs was in front of him slightly, didn't want to risk the kick ahead. Good turnover, Wasps looking threatening with Wade stood at first receiver on the blind side. They're obviously looking to get him into the game early. He gets a chance in the air here.
Jumped in the air with Freddie Burns. There's nothing doing, and we will have the line out.
Well, Mentioned the importance of the Leicester back row today, the ability to turn over, makes the tackle, back to his feet, is allowed to attack, and as he's hit back over his own side, takes the ball with him. Wasps just need to be careful that they put enough people into the breakdown to give themselves that momentum, make sure they secure the ball. No real surprise that Leicester's first line out is kept tight.
He is bound in.
That's a meaty drive, and Youngs eventually brings it away to Matt Smith, and here goes Beetham, and Leicester have started this brightly, forcing Wasps into early defensive detail, which Josh Bassett was up to. Williams to Adam Thompson, JP Peterson amongst those on the list of absent and injured. Thrown away by Youngs to Jimmy Gotters, starting at fly half today ahead of Danny Cipriani, who's on the bench. Beale at fullback, linking up with Bassett, who's having a cracking season. And back to Gopperth. Ball was loose. Youngs tried to get his boot to it, but still Wasps' possession. Elliot Daly, taken on by Kiernan Mile. Nathan Hughes with the burst through. Daly looking for Wade. The bounce of the ball might work for him. It still might work for him. Daly! And then Wade scores.
Well, a number of things in that for me. Leicester probably kicking too long to Beale, giving him a chance to put momentum on it. Nathan Hughes is carrying in the midfield to get those extra couple of metres to put his team on the front foot. And then players jumping out of the line for Leicester, creating the little kick through. Pretty poor from Owen Williams right at the end here. Just watch. He's in, he looks like he can go for the ball, just pulls out a bit slightly. And that gives Wade the ability to get there first, and if you let Wade there first, there's only going to be one result. This man is born to finish.
Rather cute little grubber kick through from Elliot Daly, and there was still lots and lots of work to do, but Wade, who whizzed in for a hat-trick here last time out at the Ricoh against Bath on Christmas Eve, opens his account within 3 minutes against Leicester.
It does, and it's Leicester's backfield play again. No consistency of that pendulum, no fullback. Owen Williams and Ben Youngs, the only two in the backfield, you're 9 and 10. All started with a big carry from Nathan Hughes.
Jimmy Gofford, who's on his own at the top of the point scoring tree, gets 2 more.
But it was very much tougher because Owen Williams was in a decent situation. As the ball gets kicked through, he could advance straight onto it and just take the ball. He's well ahead of Wade coming towards it. He's in a decent position there to come straight onto it. Instead, as he gets towards the contact point, he spins out the tackle. I've no idea what he's doing there, but potentially could have stopped it, or at least tried.
Backwards, bounce forward.
Leicester win the kick-off back. Ed Slater, the ball being deemed to have been knocked backwards and then bouncing forwards. Not a knock-on in the referee's eyes.
Dan Cole running into Kiernan Mile, starting again ahead of James Gaskell today. And some physicality to the pack, certainly at scrum time. Tom Youngs pirouetting out of the tackle. Now Owen Williams. Freddie Burns coming up from full-back, and Beetham, Australian, who's been brought in off the wing today to fill for the loss of Manu Tuolangi, out for the season. I'm sure you know that, but that's a big hole to fill once more for Leicester. And here's Tom Youngs.
Wasps need to wrap their defence around the corner. They've done so. Good communication from the outside men. A little bit slow at the base from Ben Youngs.
Burns. She held on to by Brendan O'Connor. The Wasps defence working hard on the ground.
We spoke about the importance of the back rowers at the breakdown. Tommy Taylor has always been like an extra back rower in whichever team he's played. That is a huge turnover under pressure. Releases it for Wasps. They can clear and get the throw into the lineup.
Martin Bayfield's down on the touchline. You've been trying to get a sense of how Leicester might play this today, Bass. What have you been hearing?
Well, I was chatting to Richard Blaise beforehand, an example of how things have changed for Leicester Tigers. We wouldn't normally have a chat with Richard Blaise. He's saying actually it's made life a little bit easier because they've got to focus on wasps. That's what's been at the forefront of their mind. They prepared, as always. They've been examining them, what their strengths, what their weaknesses are. But of course, some players are now doing things slightly differently. They brought in Boris Stankovic to help with the scrum, Brett Deacon to help with defence. So there's a different feel. But the fact they're playing against wasps has focused their mind. Maybe the time for worry and concern about what may happen will come in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, interesting. I'll talk about Brett Deacon in a moment or two with you, Ben, but that's a significant change in terms of the defensive setup.
Green one clearly from the side.
At the moment, they're having to defend this rolling maul from the line-out, and they've conceded a penalty. Craig Maxwell-Keys, by the way, not sure we've said hello to him on the weekend when the spotlight's on the referees.
Still on.
With all the high tackle brouhaha.
Entry.
Come back for the penalty. Brett Deacon speaks Leicester. He understands the language, and I think the players are happy to have him looking after the defence this week.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a tremendous bloke. Was never the superstar of the Leicester side, but was one of the reasons during the successful periods that Leicester had success. Just that drive. But he's had that slightly different coaching journey than others. Not like Jordan Murphy or Richard Blaise that have gone straight into the first team role. He's come through an academy post. He's sort of one of those X-factor blokes that he adds something to the environment with his personality, which lifts everyone, which you can't quite put your finger on why, otherwise everyone would be doing it.
Well, the work they've been putting in at Oval Park this week is about to be tested, because from the wonderful pick from Gopperth, Tommy Taylor picks out Mile. Wasps trying to set up this driving ball.
That's collapsed, so Wasps have a freebie now, dangerous with their back line. Kyle Eastman coming up, seeing if he can sniff an opportunity.
Robson, Eastman was offering himself, but it was Gopperth behind him who slipped away, and that becomes...
That's where Wasps are so dangerous. They know they've got the penalty, they've got the freebie, and they've got the firepower in the back line to capitalise on it. I just think in that situation, if you're Leicester, you want to kill the ball. Don't let it come out of that ruck, that maul.
Excellent leadership by Wasps as well to have that initial first drive which wins them the penalty, then kick to the corner, another drive. Everyone talking about make this a forwards game, Leicester will win. Wasps are saying no, we've got to drive as well.
So many options, Austin, that Wasps have in their back line now, but with Gopperth at 10, it allows them to play Kyle Eastman at 12.
Yeah, they're not a particularly big back line, but they can stand up physically. This guy gives you a second distributor, a second 5'8", and if you're playing 10, it takes a lot of pressure off you.
Again, the setup's good. Need to get the body heights down a bit for Wasps. Taylor doing a good job to stay hidden, working exceptionally hard there not to show himself to Ben Youngs, and it could go all the way.
This will take some stopping. It was, in fact, unstoppable. And the post-Cockrell era has not started well for Leicester. Less than 10 minutes played, they've already shipped 2 tries to the neighbours.
A really, really sharp setup, and that man's worked so hard to stay hidden and not present a target to the Leicester defenders. Would have been so easy. Here's the good setup. They get the ball far away from the Leicester. As the shunt comes on, they don't panic. Now look at him. So easy for those hips to swing out and prevent a target for Ben Youngs, but he hides back in. People go past him, and then it's a simple walk to the line. Good body heights. Eyes on the line, and he just dives with the nose straight over the top to the try.
Third try of the season for Tommy Taylor.
Yeah, they rode that initial drive from Leicester, didn't they? Spun out very well, and then you saw Cole and Slater ending up with their backs towards the maul. You lose 2 of your big power guys to a drive like that, you're just not going to be able to stop it. Amazing start from Wasps.
Not on this occasion, but that'll do. As a start for David Young and his team.
That's such a psychological blow, because it gives Wasps that threat from all over the field. Now Leicester can't be worrying about Kyle Eastman every time Wasps have a line out. They must deal with the line out drive first, which means back rowers will get held in more. Great opportunities for their speedsters.
Again, Ed Slater working hard at the restart, and this is Beetham seeing what he can do amongst the backs now. Freddie Burns having to shuffle back amongst the others to try and win that back, and that's been lost forward. We know what Wasps will do with this ball in broken play.
Well, Beale was away there through the middle if that had just been offloaded.
4! That's good, thank you.
Marty Moore, Gopperth, it's Guy Thompson. Eventful afternoon at Welford Road in September, the match that Wasps won. Try and a yellow card.
Touched all onside.
Adam Thompson with Wasps onside because of the touch. Thompson weaving his way through.
Off feet, Wasp!
Ben Youngs with his brother in close proximity, but he decides to go for Cole instead, and Cole on the charge here. When you think back to John Welsh on Friday night, but this time Cole doesn't try the chip over the top. Just the old-fashioned thing and holds on to it, and Leicester are pressing once more with Williams. Characterful response from Leicester to conceding 2 early tries, and Ed Slate has been at the forefront of it. Charge at some speed, but not quite the control that Mike Williams would have wanted.
Yeah, great line from Mike Williams, really confrontational, will hold defenders, make the outside men step in and create opportunities from the next phase. Just can't hold it, giving it right on the line.
Up and firing again after 10 weeks out with a broken arm, an arm that now has some protection around it.
It's a really good low shot under the ball, isn't it, to dislodge it. I think it was Guy Thompson.
Austin.
Well, just looking at Tigers' play and how it varies from Wasps. Wasps are very direct when they get their opportunity, and Leicester have the chance to as well. This is a big gap on the inside of Tommy Taylor. You should really just be running dead straight. If everybody runs really straight, you've got 5 on 3 on the outside instead. Once you start to drift on the ball, you allow those 3 defenders to eat up the space. We see that a lot with Beetham as well. He has the opportunity on that outside channel to just use that gas and go very, very straight down the field, but he always picks the outside arm. And against a fast drifting back line like Wasps, you're not going to break it down.
I was talking about psychological blows a minute or two ago. Wasps struck the first blow of the season when they won at Welford Road back in September. First time there since 2008. Road trip win, 34-22. Picked up high-scoring bonus point as well. It's decided that Matt Simmons needs to... Oh no, he doesn't. He's fine. I thought he was heading off, but Matt Simmons takes his place in the lineup.
I said Guy Thompson made the tackle. It might be Simmons that made that tackle.
Slater gathering it highest.
Well, they gathered higher, they stayed high now, they swung out, they need to get bodies lower. Cole needs to get past Youngs or strip the ball. Obviously, with the new laws, he can't just go straight in at the side.
O'Connor was at the forefront of that. And again, the surge from Williams, who trained with England this week after missing the November test with the broken arm. Once more, it's Beetham being hustled to the floor by Elliot Daly.
13 off feet.
Freddie Burns, third start in a row at fullback. Matthew Tate still nursing his sore jaw. Teresa Viano as well injured. Youngs, Williams. Williams again did well to gather a ball that was dying on him, and this is Matt Smith. He wasn't due to start today, but Jack Roberts pulled out before kick-off. Again, no Tuolangi, no Tamua. All the big names, all the high money earners not contributing to Leicester's efforts over the last few months, and they've lost that.
Holding on. Clearly the first man in.
Oh, just that one hand getting onto the ball, stripping it back. Referee saying despite it coming loose and Leicester getting an advantage, Simmons just hanging it around there long enough to give Tommy Taylor the opportunity after the tackle, but without causing the referee any problems. Often it is about what sort of picture you can paint to the opposition, to the referee, what you can get away with. doing a really good job of allowing his teammates to latch onto the ball and then working exceptionally hard to get out.
It's Matt Mullen with the bloody nose in the foreground. Six Nations opportunities knocking maybe. We know that Mako Vunipola is going to be absent. Hearing that Joe Marler's calf that kept him out yesterday isn't as serious as it might have been, and everyone's hoping that Marler will be fit for the Six Nations, but Matt Mullen isn't too far away right now. And there he is. Gathering ball back for Wasps. This is the hooker, Tommy Taylor. Goffeth. Working hard to try and close the space down, and that looks like it's been lost forward by Christian Wade. Williams has it straight into Matt Simmons. Still playing the advantage for the ball lost forward, and we'll have to come back for it.
It was a bit of an Achilles heel last week, wasn't it, Nick? The kicking game of Leicester. It was almost a last resort again there. The opportunity to get some territory. Just got to execute the decision that you make properly, and way too many kicks are being charged down for Leicester, either at 9 or 10. As you can see, there's loads of space, but the trajectory is way too low on the kick to ever get over anyone, and then I know there's a little bit of advantage being played, but try and take that advantage by going forward, not sideways. We're only 16 minutes in, and it's difficult to see Leicester finding a way back into this game.
It's been such a difficult week for everybody. Aaron Major talking openly and honestly this week, Ben, about the differences tactically, philosophically that he had with Richard Cockrell. In training as well, interestingly, as much as playing-wise, the whole setup of the club. Not that they aren't good mates, they are, but when it came to work, they just didn't see eye to eye.
Absolutely, I think things are done differently down in New Zealand to up here anyway. Richard Cockrell would have been at the forefront of the physical approach and making sure the team was prepared for the battle that was coming. Perhaps Aaron Major slightly more on the side of keeping the bodies fresh, so that when you get onto the battlefield, you can win those collisions.
And then
Teammate of yours. So much of what Richard Cockrell did, it wasn't just about being the director of rugby. Worked hard on the defence, and on moments like this at scrum time, at the breakdown. Got some jobs to fill this week.
You mentioned that the kicking game is all important, Austin, talking about some of the lack of success and accuracy in Leicester's kicking game. I think when they've kicked on the back foot, Youngs and Williams haven't looked strong. They need to get on the front foot, make sure that they have time to pick the spot and they're not kicking directly to people with a lot of grass in front of them.
Which is what happened just then with Curtly Beale. He does find grass, and Ben Youngs has to go back, sort it out.
inside.
See the difference there with an aimless kick that doesn't land on the floor, and Beale takes it. So Leicester did have a line out, or a scrum rather, on the halfway line. It's now a Wasp ball on the halfway line. You want to win a territory battle, that's not how to do it. Almost think like sides nowadays, some sides, not all of them, they make a decision way too early before they see what's in front of them, and then just go ahead with it anyway, rather than changing mid-flow.
An elaborate line out, but in the end picked out Thompson at the tail of it, and here goes Goffeth with Daly offering himself. Instead it's Wade putting his skates on again, and then Goffeth with a little chip through for Bassett. It was about as much as Bassett could do.
It's really good defence from Peter Beetham there, because he commits to go early at Wade. If he leaves it, tries to see what he's doing, and Wade's got an opportunity to at least get his hands free. See Beetham here, he's drifting, now he accelerates and just gets hands on him, forces him to make the pass earlier than perhaps Wade would have wanted to.
This is Beetham, picked up just short of halfway by Robson. Youngs, Ben Youngs. Slater again doing what he can to get underneath the high ball, but even he was beaten to it. Thomas Young to Goffeth, engaging Marty Moore, and this is Mile, tackled initially by Smith. Nathan Hughes is waiting for it.
Thank you.
Goes beyond him, however, to Mullen.
Not beyond, please.
Eastman. Daly slipping through the first attempt to bring him down. That was Beetham's.
Peter, isn't it?
He's regarded it as okay.
Wade to Bassett, the two wingers within a couple of metres of each other. And now Bassett finds Beale and Wade's up in support. And here he is. It's the confident, loose passing from Wasps that threatens to unstitch Leicester's defence once more. That not quite so smart, and it needs sorting out by Mile, who does sort it out, straightens up, goes hard through the middle. Gopeth and Thompson. Robson to Gopeth again, and now Eastman hops back inside, gets it away before he's brought down, however. Wasps attack going this way and that, looking for a soft underbelly. Tackle made by Williams, but still the pressure's there, and then the big hit coming in from O'Connor. Daly was brought down, and there are lots of Leicester shirts there, but just enough Swans to drive them back over the top. Nathan Hughes.
It's amazing attacking play from Wasps, so fluid, and then you have the big ball carriers in the back row. What of Young, the footwork of Wade on the outside channel to create the break in the first place, and then Bassett, and then two breakdowns in the corner, which arguably were penalties to Leicester. They had three guys over the ball, but this footwork from Bassett, and then the speed from Ben Youngs to get back onto Beale. Great defence, but they're so dangerous, Wasps.
I think Gopeth misses an opportunity from this, though, because look how he winds up the pass and throws the long looper. Whereas if this goes through the hands, they've got big numbers, or even the crossfield kick will get the ball out there quicker. But you saw how much time Freddie Burns had to get across and cover. Maybe just a slight hesitation, and suddenly that line speed coming up takes away those options for you.
Penalty statistic speaks for itself. Latest one has put Leicester in a little bit of a hole. Once again,
Three's already in.
Gordon Mile, first choice at the line-out.
Weathered the Leicester defensive storm. Taylor at the back again. Losing players, Leicester. Tom Young's essentially illegally doing a good job of stopping Tommy Taylor falling with him.
Taking a step backwards, as is Young. And this is Thompson. Ellis Genge trying to strip it off him to positive success, but it did slow it down, and here goes Hughes. He's tackled low and effectively by Will Evans.
Wade hovering just off Gopeth. Eastman in behind Daly, threatening attack, but he might not have the ball.
Mile did just enough to get there first, but he's not held on to it. There were too many Leicester shirts. Ben Youngs fires away, but it will come back at them in quick time with Beale. Gopeth, pressurised by Beetham. Robson spins it away to Gopeth, who has a look down the opposite avenue, finds Robson, and they've got the ball was forward. And back we come. But it's a defensive nightmare at the moment, the problems, the questions that Wasps are asking.
Phenomenal, but that man there questioned his decision-making on the long pass before, but his decision-making as he changed size and picks out the defender he wants to target. He can see that he's got Genge on his own, he's going to drag him out and then know that the nine's going to be back inside. Unfortunately for him, the ball's forward. But that sort of decision-making would have been so easy for him to ignore the ball back inside. He drags Genge where he wants him, knows that no one else will be able to recover. And it is, where do you mark? Where do you overdo your marking? If you do it in tight, you've got the firepower out wide. As soon as you start worrying about those guys, get too wide around the breakdown, the likes of Gopeth, Robson, they'll target you.
I think you've got to get your formation right defensively. Just defend zones. Don't defend moves, don't defend people. Go forward collectively, guard your bodyguard in place. And then if you are the bodyguard on the blind side, at least come forward. Don't drop in underneath the ruck. Genge there has to stand up, be presentable, move forward and then close the gap where the ruck was. And then there's no hole there for anyone to attack. It's great decision making by Goppert. I really loved last season when we said to him, oh, Danny Cipriani's coming here. And he said, I don't care, I'm going to fight for my position.
Let's find out how Leicester are trying to defend this. Aaron Major is ready to have a chat with us. We're talking about it in the commentary box, Aaron. How are you dealing with it in the coach's box? They're a box of fireworks, Wasps, right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they've certainly got plenty of threats right across the park. We've just got to work hard to get set up and get our spacing probably a little bit better at the moment. We're probably presenting too many holes. Putting ourselves in that position too. We probably could have kicked some of those balls off the park to slow the game down a little bit, not give those attacking threats a chance.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Are you kicking correctly at the moment? Are enough of them finding grass? Are they competable?
At the moment we haven't been good enough with our kicking game. You know, always kick one down the middle. It's given Curtly Bill a chance to light up. That one that we've turned over after defending really well for a good few phases there from Benny Youngs. It's probably got to go off the park so we can reset again.
What are the positives, Aaron? What are you seeing that's pleasing you at the moment?
I think when we've got the ball in hand, we'll put them under a bit of pressure. I think when we get down to their 22, we just got to complete for longer. Probably a little bit more urgent back to the ball at the breakdown, and if we do that, we'll put them under pressure.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time.
Cheers, guys.
6-man line.
It's Mike Fitzgerald, New Zealand, a rugged exponent in the back row and the second row back there today, Ben. Owen Williams, just a hint that went forwards, but on we go. Craig Maxwell-Keys, the referee, happy for Leicester to continue ball in hand with Will Evans. Just his fourth Premiership start, only 20. Big future ahead of him, but he's got a big game ahead of him here today as Mike Williams again takes it up the middle, and Leicester once more hold on to it, and Fitzgerald again tackled by Marty Moore. And again Williams looking for a lot of work. Flicked away by Burns to Tom Brady. 3 Wasps defenders.
Tackle Wasps!
In the end, they all have to give it up. Oh, that's brilliantly done by Slater to get the ball under so much pressure away so quickly. And Tom Youngs.
Off feet, 10!
Adam Thompson trying to stretch the field as much as he can on the right-hand side.
Use it!
Ellis Genge and Fitzgerald and O'Connor. The big hammers a little bit closer in, if that's the way they want to go. O'Connor's there now. 3 metres short, 4 metres short. Tommy Taylor goes over the top. He thinks that's his ball. He has to give it up. This is Genge.
He's not on the ball.
Huge focus on the ball from the Wasps defenders every time Leicester carry. It's being slowed up either by that attempted rip or bodies coming over the top.
Well, we talk a lot about Wasps' attack, and we've talked a lot already in this match about Wasps' attack, but that was all about their defence.
Yes, and they've got so many players that are low to the ground. So even Kyle Eastman there getting in over one ball. Tommy Taylor very strong over the ball. Dan Robson. But these low guys get in a position that if you're not there before them, you can't clear them out. Particularly now that you can't go near the head.
I think there's also that danger for Leicester that if they play as simply as they are now, it means you can commit 2 players to the tackle, get one of them on the ball. They need to be posing questions of those guys, so they're thinking, actually, I'm a tackler further out, I don't need to step in, I can't step in. At the moment, Wasps just putting 2, 3 into every breakdown.
Again, it's Mile, knowing that they're going to throw it to him and being able to do something about it, proving to be a different thing at the moment. And here goes Young with Robson up in support, and so is Bassett. He can go to the right or the left. He went to the right into Bassett, and Bassett weaving his way towards the line, but Williams got there, and Adam Thompson over the top, but Robson gathers and scores, and Wasps have a third. And they're very nearly away and over the horizon. And we barely played half an hour.
Well, that's just their speed to be able to spot an opportunity, go through the gears and take them on. It's poor defence from Leicester off the base of the scrum. They need to be a little bit better at dealing with that on the blind side. And then good defence initially from Brady here, but Robson, watch him looking and scanning where the opportunities are, where the front five forwards are struggling. O'Connor goes the wrong side, wrapping up. Dan Cole left on his own. He's never going to beat that man for pace.
It's a sign of the speed that Wasps play at, that there were 3 Leicester defenders struggling to get back on that left-hand side, and they couldn't get back in time to stop Robson.
Yeah, it's that ability to react, isn't it? When you've seen something happen in front of you, you have to close it down. Stop the ball coming out of the ruck. Sacrifice yourself. You may spend 10 minutes in the bin, but you'll save 7 points and you'll still be in the match. The situation of an international scrum half missing a tackle on the blind side. As he breaks here, Ben Youngs has got to make that tackle. Stop it at source. They do well, Leicester, to recover and scramble back. Brady makes a good tackle, but this is the ruck. Once this ruck is formed here, that ball does not come out. There's only one Leicester guy in there. Dan Cole's left isolated, and it's a walk-in for Robson.
Again, it goes back to that multi-threat from Wasp, because why was Ben Youngs on his own on the blind side of that maul? Because Leicester were worried about the drive. They all commit to trying to stop it there and then. They put too many bodies in. Wasp spot it, take the opportunity.
It's what happens when your team's panicking. You stop trusting each other, you start doing different jobs, as Ben said. Ben Youngs there needs to pull a forward out, stand him on the blind side, and then float in behind. He shouldn't be isolated as the last defender, but you're seeing it all over the field.
Tackles made as a percentage, 74% from Leicester at the moment.
Good lads up. Just feet up. Just bring it up, Wasps, please.
Think of the toll on the bodies as well. For the number of metres Wasps have made, they haven't had to make a lot of contact, whereas when Leicester have carried, think of the amount of work that Mike Williams has had to go through for little yardage in comparison to Wasps. When you get that pace and tempo up, it actually gives you more energy. When you're sort of playing that tight game, it's very, very hard to keep it going at the same intensity for 80 minutes.
Wasps going for what would be the fastest bonus point in the Premiership so far this season, beating their own record, 33 minutes to get 4 against Harlequins here before Christmas. They've got 3 in 30 minutes. Williams, Burns, chase his own kick, and this might work out very nicely for him. He had Ben Youngs up in support, and that might be a deliberate knock-on from Courtney Beale. Stuart Terrage, the TMO in our trucks, is being called into action. Tom Brady chases his kick, and he wins the bounce as well against Dan Robson. So we're playing the advantage from that deliberate knock-on. Williams on the bounce to Genge.
Penalty only, penalty only.
Cheers, thank you, mate.
Burns. Might yet work. That's brilliant footwork, absolutely brilliant footwork, and in the end we will have to come back for the penalty, but Brendan O'Connor doing what he can.
Well, it's been penalty only. Obviously the attacking threat not seen to be too great. Here's the chip from Burns. Won't quite bounce up for him, and as he throws the pass,
We've seen those go to the bin before now, regardless of whether it's in a try-scoring position. Stops momentum. A lovely little kick on the volley. O'Connor just doesn't quite sit up for him.
good from Wade just to continue his run across the line, just hold O'Connor for a second, allow his cover to get back and place the ball.
Justin Wade, one of Wasps' 3 try scorers so far, if you're just joining us here on BT Sport. Scored the first early on after a clever clip through from Elliot Daly, and he's moved back ahead of Samisa Rokodaguni and Matt Scott, who got a couple for Gloucester yesterday as the Premiership's top try scorers so far this season. Wade, Taylor and Dan Robson, Wasps' try scorers so far. Owen Williams endeavouring to become Leicester's first points scorer in this contest. It's pretty good off the kicking tee so far this season. He's running at 80% and he's bagged the first three for Aaron Major's Leicester here.
Right decision from Leicester, despite the scoreboard being so far against them. They need to start chipping away and taking every opportunity for points. Mixing that, not trying to force the tries, because against this Wasps defence, they haven't looked likely to come up with them. They need to start putting pressure on Wasps, thinking, hang on, this game's not over.
Daly leads the chase. Connor was underneath him.
Inside.
Williams completes the clearing job. Actually, chatter that he might be a Gloucester player next season. We will see. We're into the time of year post January the 1st when we all like would have transferred tittle-tattle.
Well, clubs can start talking to the players now, can't they? Because they didn't do it in September, October, November or December.
That's that, yeah.
Shortened line out, big carriers in midfield for Wasps.
Mile deflects it back. Goffeth involving Thompson. He's driven down forcibly. Simmons tidying things up by Wade. Oh, Wade's still going. What feet? What feet? And he's gone beyond Brady almost, and Genge got back with an important intervention. Oh my goodness. Christian Wade, and then, well, that was not so good, but let's not worry about the knock-on. What about that from Wade?
Can we just watch that again, please? Unbelievable footwork and strength.
Not saying, isn't there? He could step you in a phone box. Poor Fitzgerald here. I'll get back up and have another go. Running straight at me, nowhere for him to run, and he's out of it.
I don't know about a phone box. He could step you on a 50p. He's unbelievable. It's low centre of gravity. When he broke through there, I thought that was it. He was gone.
He'd be decent at Twister, wouldn't he?
I don't play that anymore, Nick.
A wise decision, but he'd still be decent at Twister.
You still having those Twister parties, are you?
Point.
I won't mention the Pampers grass.
Reset.
Into the final 5 minutes of a first half that's been pretty much bossed by Wasps. The colouring in has been done by their rapid bats, try scorers like Wade and people like Ellis Genge have just been working so hard to stay in the contest.
It's almost unfair, though, isn't it, to just mention how good this Wasp backline is, because the forwards have improved so much this season. You know, they've already scored one from a driving maul. They came very close on the second occasion. But it's a ball carrying, I think, of Nathan Hughes and Thompson in the back row that just gave you that go forward. Without that impact, without that quick ball behind the tackle line, it's so much harder to play as a back division.
Simmons a good signing as well, wasn't he? Huge signing coming in. Player of the season at Irish, and he's just a real presence in the middle of that engine room.
Find out what Kiernan Miles' line-out stats are this afternoon, but he's getting through the bulk of them. Joe Launchby, by the way, calf injury not as serious as I think Eddie Jones might have feared initially.
Good work, Seven, thank you.
Wasps are expecting him back next week for the Champions Cup match here against Toulouse, a game you'll be able to see here with us on BT Sport. Here's Matt Mullen, who will be playing in that game, he will hope, and may well have a part in Eddie Jones' Six Nations plans. Depends to a certain extent on injuries to those loose head props. Here's Nathan Hughes, who again will be hoping to be on that squad list that's announced on January the 20th. Robson is in the wider squad. Brady and Burns getting in each other's way, and they were rescued in the end by Wade's knock-on, but that could have been a little embarrassing.
Yeah, inexperienced 15, Freddie Burns, but not sure whether he was calling, but he's got to be so dominant if he's going to come from behind and take that.
If you've missed anything in the Premiership this weekend, it'll all be rounded up for you tonight in the highlights programme. DT Sport 3. And next weekend, as we were saying, back in Europe, start to look ahead to the fifth round of full matches on Wednesday's rugby tonight. Tom Vondel and Ruan Pienaar with us, and then those games: Wasps against Toulouse and Racing against Leicester. We've also got, by the way, Bristol against Bath in the Challenge Cup on the Friday to starters. Toulon against Sale, Exeter against Ulster, as we go all continental for the next fortnight from next Friday.
Ben Young's dropped right behind the scrum here. Couldn't Nathan Hughes a chance to pick?
Oh, reset.
Obviously worried a little bit about Wade.
I think they're playing twist in it.
Right hand yellow.
Slightly different to you, they're closed.
A fetid imagination, don't you? You really do. A week skiing and you come back like somebody who ought to be in jail.
That's why I'm coming round.
I think I went.
So there's more.
Be interested to see if Ben Youngs does do that again, though. Christian Wade now standing behind the scrum. You don't want to give him a one-on-one with everyone, with anyone actually, sorry. But normally you'd see the 9 stand right at the 8's feet, stop him picking up and getting any momentum.
Let's go. He started that.
Final minute of the half. Time for Wasps to land one last blow and take him so close to getting through there. Tackle from Matt Smith was absolutely critical.
Yeah, brilliant tackle from Matt Smith, because it was left very, very late from Kyle Eastman. And there were so many dummy runners around him as well. Very easy to take your focus away from the actual ball carrier. As it comes across, much to the line of Goppeth. Goppeth takes Beetham's eyes away from it, but Matt Smith stays right on the tackle. That's a tough tackle to make on the game line like that.
He's barely played over the last couple of months. He hurt his ankle, you might remember, match that we did in the Anglo-Welsh Cup at the Rec. He's 31 now, but all the experience of a bloke closing in on 200 appearances.
Crunch! Yeah. Right, there's a mic right there, so let's not use that. Let's not use that sort of language.
Apologies for the
You sit at the end of that. You sit there, please. Now don't chase each other. Crunch! Boyd! Set!
Should they desire here, Leicester can end the first 40 and try and regather in the shed over the half-time oranges.
It's half-time if you kick it out. It's half-time, yeah.
That's exactly what Ben Youngs decides to do. A challenging start for Leicester to life without Richard Cockrell. How do you handle a side like Wasps when they're in this kind of mood? Lots for Leicester to talk about after tries from Christian Wade, Tommy Taylor and Dan Robson have the hosts in a handy lead at the break, 19 points to 3.
Really? This? Is that a sportsman football?
Mayday. Mayday. This is Eagle One. We have a problem.
Don't panic. I'll see what the internet says. Look, £10 in free bets every week when you bet £25 on football multiples. Yes, let's have a piece of the action.
We're breaking up!
I tell you what, I rate our chances.
Oh,
For the love of the game.
We start live.
shoes.
Try them on if you like.
Thanks.
Oh, it feels lovely.
Hello.
Who's this?
Won't be long now, girl.
Chicken Selects. Tender chicken breast strips in a seasoned crispy coating.
Ooh, nice.
Get your own.
Welcome to QuickBooks. Manage your small business finances with it. Customize and send invoices in seconds. Get paid faster. Automatically calculate VAT returns. Run payroll with ease. And connect everything to your bank account. All using an effortless solution that's great for accountants and used by over 1 million small businesses. QuickBooks makes any place your place of business. See your finances in a whole new way. Visit quickbooks.co.uk today to get started. Now with up to 40% off your first 6 months. QuickBooks. Your accounts done.
If your next step is one you didn't see coming, we'll be by your side.
World of personalized sports news, live notifications, and up-to-the-minute scores at your fingertips. Download the ESPN app now.
Join my alliance and prepare for victory. Bring in the heavy artillery. That's how you strike. Mobile Strike. Download and play free from the App Store.
Kevin will be the first in his family to go to university. He'll tell you first when he gets his place.
Well done, Kevin.
Amy loves chatting. You'll get her to do it in Spanish. And one day Tamika will teach her own kids about kinetic theory. She'll remember this class. And you. Make a difference to their future. And yours. Apply now and you could get a £25,000 tax-free training bursary. Search Get Into Teaching.
Wasps have a healthy lead of 19 points to 3 here at the Ricoh Arena, and the crowd are just loving it. Over 20,000 here again today, over 20,000 last week, and they're expecting more of the same next week. In fact, over the 3 fixtures, 70,000 fans will have crammed into the Ricoh. Unbelievably, that's more than they would have got in an entire season back in their old ground. So they have moved on so well, and it's not just clever marketing or cheap tickets. They are entertaining the crowds with some fantastic rugby. We hope to see more of the same next week, because Toulouse are going to be in town up against the likes of Ficou and Fritz de Médard, the real stars of Toulouse, coming Saturday 2:45. That gets round 5 of the Champions Cup up and running on BT Sport 2. That night it's Racing against Leicester, then a triple header for you on the Sunday: Bordeaux against Clermont, Toulon against Sale, and then a huge game for Ulster. Can they beat Exeter? Can they stay in the mix to get out of that pool? You will find out next week. Loads more European rugby coming your way, and hopefully more entertainment from the Ricoh, because Dave Walder, what a brilliant start from Wasps. What a great first half.
Yeah, what a first 5 minutes, really. Leicester will have been in the changing room talking about coming out of the blocks, not letting Wasps get on the front foot, and the exact opposite happened. You know, there's the first try here, we'll see it's great recognition from Elliot Daly to put the ball in behind there. 3 Leicester players converging, none of them really that keen to put their body on the line for it, and a great finish by Christian Wade, possibly or arguably the most lethal finish in the Premiership, doing what he does best, and that's dotting that down. The next penalty, kick to the corner. Wasps, I thought, did really well, showed great patience here. Withstood the initial drive from Leicester. Bit of patience. Tom Taylor at the back there driving the maul. A couple of Leicester players trying to
put it down subtly, and there's 2 tries down in the 10th minute, and you're already facing a pretty uphill battle.
Obviously, Wasps full of confidence at the moment. They're flying high across the board. And we always say this, the old cliche, but when teams are playing well, the awareness the players seem to have each other, everything just clicks. They all know their jobs. But so when someone does break out, when there is a counter, everyone just reacts immediately. And is that why we're seeing such a brilliant brand of rugby here today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they support the ball brilliantly across the pack. They use the short run as well. They support the ball here. You see there's always 2 or 3 guys. There's actually 4 guys here in support of Courtney Beale on the break, and there's a good bit of scramble defence. This time they bring someone short and they go out the back, and they bring another short runner and go out the back again to a Christian Wade in space, and there's that space in behind, and the recognition, and again slightly unlucky. And this is actually the build-up to Dan Robson's try. Thomas Young, the speed at which he came past us on the touchline was very impressive. Leicester a little bit of confusion, the pendulum. And it's the breakdown. On one hand, you've got to commend Dan Cole for his work rate to get back, with a slight communication errors with the back row folding round, leaves that space, and George Robson on top of his game. Sorry, George Robson? Dan Robson, George Robson. Their second row, I'm not sure he'd have taken it. Dan Robson on top of his game, taking that space and running in a 3rd try.
Feel sorry for Dan Cole there, because he steps out, Robson cuts in, he stays in, Robson goes wide, but they have missed a lot of tackles, the Tigers. 14 tackles, but actually it's the rate of tackle success. Only 74%, which is really low compared to Wasps' 94.
They just can't stem the flow. You know, every time they seem to be in the game, they miss a tackle and it's a line break. Wasps, as we said, have got threats all over the pitch, whether it's the back row carrying hard, whether it's the front row tipping, whether it's the outside backs and the wider channels being put in spaces by Jimmy Gopperth and Kyle Eastman. You know, they are challenging across the pitch. They keep the ball moving very well, and they always seem to have someone in behind just to pick up the pieces and keep the move going, and Leicester at the moment just can't handle it.
They just want to keep the ball alive. It just makes them such an attractive team to watch. And the question is for the Leicester Tigers, how do you deal with that? Wasps, well, die young, it's easy for them. Just keep doing what you're doing, boys. Keep the energy up. But for the Tigers, where do you start? They can't even put shape on the game, having to deal with this attack. We could have a fascinating second 40 with more tries on its way here in BT Sport. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
There's only one home of world darts, where legends are made. See the legends of today. The BDO World Championships continues tonight, live on BT Sports.
I can travel 1,000,000 miles in a single afternoon. I see every card and every goal. Very second it happens, I miss nothing. I'm a member of the world's favourite online sports betting company, and I gamble responsibly at Bet365.
It's the January sales, where you can buy D-list celebrity autobiographies that you'll use as a coffee coaster for the rest of the year.
Or visit O2's Stuff You Actually Want sale, where you can get 50% off SIM-only contracts with 2 gig of data or above for 6 months. Search O2 SIM-only. O2, more for you.
What makes a car not just beautiful, but beautifully made? Is it the engineering, the precision finish, the detailing, the handling? Or is it the way it makes you feel? SEAT's beautifully created winter drive is now on. Download a voucher at seat.co.uk to get an extra £1,000 off.
SEAT.
J'ai besoin de plonger à chaudière. Elle est où?
À la cave.
J'ai plongé, ça va marcher là.
We've got amazing deals in 2017, like this long wheelbase VW Crafter for just £189 per month.
Eve only make one mattress, and we believe it's the perfect one. It's made with next-generation memory foam for a cool, tranquil sleep.
Simply order online at evemattress.co.uk and we'll deliver it within 3 days. We're so confident you'll love it, we'll even give you a 100-night trial with free return pickup. Eve, everybody deserves the perfect start.
At Pure Gym, you're welcome 24 hours a day and free to leave any time. You'll have access to over 50 free classes a week and plenty of kit to keep you motivated. Join from only $14.99 a month or try us for free using promo code WELCOME at puregym.com. Pure Gym, everybody welcome.
With Wix.com, you can create your own stunning website all by yourself. Go to Wix.com to create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
Build your own R2-D2.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The ultimate interactive droid.
Hey, R2.
Complete with voice recognition, sensors, remote control, and camera.
Where do you think you're going, R2?
Plus a fully loaded magazine full of amazing facts from behind the scenes and an easy step-by-step assembly guide. Build your own R2-D2. Issue 1 out now with your first parts for just $2.99. D'Agostini.
Whether it's helping the men in my family stay active with adjustable, one-size supports to aid knee, ankle or wrist injuries, supports just for the kids, or compression socks to help with my tired, aching legs after a long day. Neo G supports all generations with medical-grade products that the whole family can rely on to help arthritis, sports injuries, or provide everyday support. Neo G helps you stay active.
The Blues head to the King Power. Will Conte be numero uno come May? Or can Ranieri's men show what champions are made of? Leicester v Chelsea, Saturday at 5, exclusively live on BT Sport.
Entertainment aplenty from Wasps here at the Ricoh. 19-3 they lead. 3 tries from Wade, Taylor and Robson. A really good performance and some great entertainment coming your way on BT Sport on Wednesday night with rugby tonight. All the usual fun and games, all the stars coming in. Ruan Pienaar, the Ulster and South African star, is going to be our guest. You don't want to miss any of that. Wednesday night, BT Sport 2 from 8 o'clock. And later on tonight, we got the BDO Darts World Championship from 6:45 on BT Sport 1 and 4K UHD. But let's get on with the rugby, shall we? The second half of Wasps against Leicester Tigers with Oz, Ben and Nick.
Eddie Jones is amongst those here today, and there's an old bloke saying, I could still do a job for you. Number 8, I could still do it for you, Ed. It's my Delalio impression, by the way, it's the case you were wondering.
I thought it was Peggy Butcher.
Well, if you combine the half-time scores from Leicester's last 3 away games against Munster, against Exeter, and then the first 40 here, they're 59-3 down. It's been away from home where it's been the most gruesome. Began with Glasgow in the Champions Cup, continued in Munster, then Sandy Park, and it's not looking overly pretty here halfway through. Wasps know that they will head into the month-long break for Europe in the Anglo-Welsh, top of the Aviva Premiership, if things stay the same. And if they can get one more try and end up with at least 4, Christian Wade's got 1 already, then they'll head into the break 4 points clear of Saracens, who currently lead, courtesy of the draw yesterday against Exeter, but Wasps seemingly poised to the Premiership's leaders as we head back into Europe. And they're not short of options on the bench either. So what of Leicester? Things to work on after the first 40 minutes. Taken back by Ed Slater, who's worked as hard as any of them, particularly winning back ball in the air for Leicester. But that's worked out all right for Wasps in the end.
Well, Slater's been superb on the kickoffs. Unfortunately for him, he's had too much practice in that first half. On the ball back, but again, Leicester turn it over. Having
that's you there, yeah?
Got that initial tap. Wasp
punish them, good field position.
Point out, by the way, there's no change to either side at half-time. Mike Fitzgerald running it for Leicester.
Thank you, Matt.
Ben Young's about to work off the front foot. Tom Brady chasing the kick, but it was too close to Wade.
It's too long again. No chance of Brady getting there and stopping it, which means easy passing across the field, and now scramble defence from Leicester.
Daly leading that threat. Robson to Thompson. Penalty's gone against Thomas Young by the looks of things.
Entry.
Owen Williams needs to be targeting the 22 here. Doesn't quite get there. Good 15 metres away. Now for Leicester, try and build that forward pack driving game as they did at the beginning of the first half. Ben Young's looking like he might not go to the line out, stood back there on the halfway line, approaching late.
Line out called by Ed Slater, and it's Fitzgerald who taps it back to O'Connor.
Same all. Start looking.
Tom Youngs took it on. Now Slater puts his head down and runs into Taylor. Thompson around the side, and that's a penalty.
Yeah, swung his foot round the side. Can't do that, you've got to come through the middle. Bit of a cheap penalty, I think Young will be furious with that. Didn't look like Leicester were going anywhere. Now it gives them an opportunity to chip away at that scoreboard again, which Tom Young signals to the referee. He's okay there, but he gets half cleaned out, rolls round the side, and then you can see clearly that foot coming from outside the breakdown back into Ben Young's hands.
Hasn't been much for Leicester so far in this match, but a couple of penalties either side of half-time, particularly if they're both successful penalties, will just have a little bit of a glimmer. Struck straight and true. And either side of half-time, Leicester are now bothering the scoreboard operator. Wasps 19, Tigers 6.
Difficult for Wasps at half-time, isn't it, to keep that momentum, try and keep that mindset that created the opportunities in the first half. Almost too easy for them the first half. They now need to realise, before Leicester get any more points, that they need to get their foot back on Leicester's throat, apply that pressure.
The restart was intended for Kiernan Mile. Instead, once again, it's Slater. He's dominating the airways above this particular part of the West Midlands right now. Here goes Young. Ben Youngs. His brother going in to clear the ball for him to use, and another penalty. And Youngs takes it quickly. And Robson makes the tackle on the 10-metre line. Leicester beginning to play with a little bit more purpose right up to that point.
Well, you can see what Ben Youngs is trying to do. He's trying to put tempo on the game. Harry Major will never tell him that he can't do that. But you just wonder, don't you? That's probably still halfway line. We've seen Owen Williams hit them from that sort of distance beforehand. Would it have been a massive psychological swing to have immediately got another 3 points, taken it to within 10 points? He's cross with himself. He's probably cross with the reaction speed of those around him, that they didn't get onto him quickly enough. But
that's the difference between the two teams, isn't it? Wasps take a quick tap penalty. There's 3 or 4 guys react to it. They're over, they're covering your back. Ben Youngs does it. It's probably, arguably 50-50 whether it's the right choice or not. If he steps Robson, who's with him? No one. He's got to do it all by himself. And that's probably why he's so frustrated.
Leicester brought Lockie McCaffrey on, by the way. It's a head injury assessment for Brendan O'Connor. And here is McCaffrey. It's for Brendan O'Connor. And here is McCaffrey. Brady's on hand, but look at Thomas Young driving him back. It's so hard for Leicester to win back that ball, and in fact they've lost it. Thompson, like a mole.
It's off a wasp boot.
Still not secured. It is now. Raya Wade. And now Marty Moore tries to shrug off the attentions of Williams. Slater was on the floor, and
first action.
Williams stayed down there for Leicester.
Way past the ball.
What fantastic work from Thomas Young.
Time off. First
Initially
action.
the hit, gets step back in the inside. Instead of going high, he drops, leg drive. Then watch what he does immediately. Bounces back to his feet, ignores the ball, goes past it, so no one from Leicester can get in there. He knows that he's got support behind him to get in on the ball and turn it over. You don't always have to go directly for the ball to secure a turnover for your team. That was superb back row play.
Rob Howley names his Wales Six Nations squad the week after next. That's the plan, and I know there are one or two in Wales lobbying for his inclusion. We'll see. They're not short of options in the back row, Wales, but he's having a stellar season, the boss's son.
I think he's played for Wales under-20s, hasn't he?
Which is the equivalent of their A team.
Which is the equivalent of their A team. So Eddie Jones might have been thinking, has he got an English mother? Has he qualified for England? But he's been here.
Residency.
Residency. So had he not got that under-20s cap, that was fairly serious for Owen Williams, doesn't it? The arm being wrapped up in a makeshift sling.
Eddie's got a smile on his face because Delalio isn't there bothering anymore. Owen Williams has been replaced by George Worth. Youngster beginning to make a name for himself this season, and Freddie Burns has gone to 10, by the way. Worth the fullback.
Punishment of the penalty, driving Leicester back down onto their own line. 9 out to come. We saw Tommy Taylor's try early on in the first half. They'll be looking for more of the same.
Their first 3 tries within the first half an hour. Looking for a fourth here, again by a mile.
Not quite as good setup this time. They'll have to roll infield. They'll lose the maul. To secure the ball back. Christian Wade hovering in behind Gopher for that inside ball. Eastman on his outside.
Been good at converting time in the 22 into tries. 3 from the previous 5 visits. So what the coaches call the red zone. Capturing amongst those working as hard as they can on the floor to repel wasps here. And driven them backwards a couple of metres. Eastman. Start at the ricoh for a while for him. He was slowed up by a chest injury before Christmas. Here's Young once more, tackled by Smith.
Much better defence from Leicester. Get the result. Didn't allow Wasps any momentum, consistently driving the home side backwards to eventually get their reward.
It's much better counter-rucking from Leicester. Piling through, making Dan Robson's job to get the ball out from underneath those bodies so much more difficult. And it just stops that momentum, doesn't it? Stops that really threatening back line being on the front foot.
Hearing, by the way, that the change at the back of the scrum is now permanent. Lockie McCaffrey for Brendan O'Connor.
If you want it.
Seen already him have a little bit of an impact with ball in hand. He's carried well this season, not the biggest of ball carrying players to have as your primary number 8. He's really filled in well there for Leicester.
This is Matt Smith, who was expecting to start the match on the bench. Roberts' injury this week means that he's in from the off, as was Genge. Marcus Ajertse was part of the warm-up in this match, so he can't be far away, and Evans does well to ride the hit from Hughes.
It looked like it could have been a headshot though, Nick. Probably worth another look at that.
Here goes Brady, and this is the new man, George Worth. Youngs. Thompson coming in, that's been lost forward. It's knocked on in the tackle, we heard Craig Maxwell-Keys tell us.
It's a knock-on advantage only.
Youngs trying to find some space to involve Adam Thompson, and he's given it straight to Beale, but will come back for the knock-on.
That cool look on Adam Thompson's face, I knew exactly what I was doing there, knew it was a shot to nothing. There must have been panic in his mind.
Well, a lot of panic as well, because normally if you kick from a knock-on advantage, it's advantage over. Here's the tackle from Hughes.
Clearly not throwing the tackle.
No, it's just a great shot. Great shot's the power that makes it look worse than it actually is.
Wasn't it? Because from this angle, his head almost snaps back. Looks like it's been hit, but it was literally just the whiplash effect to being hit in the chest. almost a look of prayer, wasn't it? The hands almost came together.
The first glance was to the left, towards the referee, and the referee duly obliged. By the way, the crowd today, 27,930, which is the biggest of the season here and the biggest anywhere away from Twickenham. A fabulous occasion at a couple of days after Christmas. Hearing as well that of that crowd, best part of 28,000, something like 55–60% are new supporters. They're from what they call the Heartland Wasps, from Coventry, Warwickshire, from Birmingham. They've brought one or two up with them from the old Adams Park days, but they're introducing lots of new folk to Premiership rugby here right now.
Advantage is coming.
Oh, Brady does brilliantly. Brady's on his bike, and desperate tackle from Robson, not quite close enough to stretch over. Beetham may be, however. Tommy Taylor's there. Leicester think they've scored.
Well, if it's not scored, Thompson on the right wing will be fuming. He was on his own. Leicester pretty convinced by their reactions. They've got it down. Will there be an angle to prove that?
Yes, Craig. The question is, any reason I can't award a try? I believe Five has grounded it from Leicester before any strip. Any reason, got it.
So, because of the question, there now just needs to be conclusive proof that it's not a try. The referee thinks it is. He's asked it for conclusive proof, showing that it's not a try.
Let's see what you're asking.
Can't see it from that angle.
Stuart Terridge is our television match official.
You can see it. You can see the ball just there on the line.
He did say it's been stripped.
It's Beetham that we're looking at.
It down first.
He's got control of it. The question is it on Goppert's leg or is it on the line?
We've got one more angle. Bear with me, please, Craig.
I think the first angle we saw actually is probably the best one. This might actually tell us now. You just can't see, can you? I think the first angle was the best one.
Oh. Stuart Terridge saw the ball on the floor behind the try line, and for the first time in this match, a little bit of relief on the face of Aaron Major. Leicester have scored via Peter Beetham.
Plenty of boos and whistles from the Wasps fans because they won't have heard that conversation. Looking up at the big screen, they won't have seen the ball grounded. But Stuart Terridge absolutely right, because the referee has said any reason I can't give the try. That means the referee's pretty sure he's seen it in real time, just wants to check. The other option available to that man would have been to say, can I award the try?
Craig Maxwell-Keys wanted to get a drink off Matthew Tate. I think it was a beer, it's just a bit of water. But he's made the decision that's brought them back into this match. Could be within half a dozen points very shortly. Well, the complexion of the match hasn't changed just yet. but there's certainly a different feel about it.
The advantage was coming, you can see there, so it's a shot to nothing. Brady comes up through the goods, sprints out of it. Brilliant cover defence initially to stop Brady. And then Leicester with a massive overlap. Beetham decides to pick and go round the corner. And he's rewarded for the gamble.
Lockie McCaffrey on for Brendan O'Connor a few minutes ago.
Inside.
Freddie Burns started at fullback, now at fly half, and here goes Beale. His 60th cap in the World Cup final last year, and that's lost forward. And the voices you're starting to hear amongst the home boos are Leicester voices.
They are. You start to see a little bit more positive energy from the Leicester players on the field, a little bit more fight, a bit more dog. Dan Cole, great effort on the floor. Allowed the tackle to bounce and got his arms underneath.
Again, not probably the kick that Aaron Major would have wanted. We heard him saying in the first half, I want that sort of thing to go off the field. But the kick is only as good as the chase. Dan Cole took a lot of criticism around the World Cup time for the amount of penalties he gave away. But he is one of the best tight heads, or front row players at disrupting those rucks, turning ball over. It's a big part of his game. He gets a big one at a vital time.
He certainly felt Richard Cockrell's departure greater than most this week. Players got him the sack, he was one of the first to say. He was upset by a talk of a split within the camp. He was challenging that frustration to good effect at the moment, and Leicester win the scrum from the win the penalty from the scrum.
He backs up the turnover. Staying square, frustrating Wasps. Referee deems they've stepped out. That man is Boris Stankovic, one of the most technical scrummagers certainly I played with.
It's a good way back into the game for Leicester, is to get under the skin of Wasps a little bit, get them involved in a physical forward battle, let them take their eyes off what they've been doing so well for the first 40 minutes.
It seems that David Young thinks that some changes need to be made, and he is part of the change. James Haskell, about to see him engage for the first time this season.
Well, if Wasps deem that their enthusiasm levels have dropped a little bit and Leicester's have risen, who better to bring on?
One more passage of play for him to watch, and Phil Swainston as well. Set to come on. Leicester once again pressing around the 22. Matt Smith, who's done what he always does in the middle of Leicester's midfield. Oh, that's nicely taken by McCaffrey. Isn't the most sympathetic of balls. Fitzgerald going through the tackle of Taylor. There's a little bit more oomph about what Leicester are doing at the moment, and Genge will add to that.
It's interesting, less Wasps players getting on the ball on these carries. Maybe that's why they want Haskell on the field.
Over the top from Burns. Brady cuts in field. Boy, you can hear the Leicester voices now for sure. And they're going again with Smith! And Smith may have scored!
Flags up. Not even going to check it. Smith suggesting they should. Linesman's convinced. He saw it.
Touch judge is Jack Makepeace, and he had the best view. And as Beale makes the hit, he saw that left boot stray out of play.
Fantastic call, Jack.
Well done. Make a decision, back yourself. Spot on.
Heard Stuart Terridge as well, the TMO, quite rightly saying what a fantastic call. We've not wasted any time by going to the TMO. The assistant referee, the touch judge, saw it and he made up his mind. And it's not just James Haskell that Wasps have up their sleeve. Danny Cipriani as well. Set to be sprung off the bench for just the second time in the Premiership this season. He's recovered from a a sore ankle that took him off at half-time at Kingston Park last Friday. We're hearing that Kyle Eastman is going to make way, so Jimmy Gofford, we assume, will move to outside centre. Cipriani will slip in at 10. Swainston as well to shore up a scrum that's been going
just
backwards.
Started to creak, hasn't it? So it's all the areas really, particularly from a forwards perspective, that have waned in this second half compared to their performance in the first.
First change though is at hooker, Ashley Johnson for Tommy Taylor.
Taylor's emptied the tank, hasn't he? He's been superb.
Head injury assessment, so he may be back. Might not be back, we will see. Too many hookers around at the club at the moment. They've brought Ed Shervington back in on a short-term deal.
Well, for a relatively new line-out thrower, what a pressurised throw this is. On your own line.
This is really simple. Say that, please.
And they've stripped it to the bare minimum, Ben.
You've got to make sure that the lifter doesn't step in before the ball's thrown. Clearly doesn't do, the referee ignores it.
Hughes into McCaffrey. Yeah, the extra edge about Leicester that I'm sure you can sense back home right now. Robson under a lot of pressure. Relieves a little bit of it. Austin.
He does really well, Robson, there, but Leicester got themselves back in the game by changing their game plan, just becoming a lot more direct. Slater comes round the corner, Beetham on the arc, but instead of running wide, he straightens up. Watch what happens next on the next phase. As it comes out, Freddie Burns runs dead straight. That sits down both defenders on the outside channel, so instead of drifting, they have to put their heels on the floor and drag them in. That creates space for Brady. And then Smith again down the blind side. By running straight, they've created space, but if you want someone to stop one who's running straight, that guy there, Haskell, one of the best head-on tacklers in the game.
Kirk finally coming up at the start of his Premiership career this season. First game since he was injured in the second test for England in June, and he's got a defensive job to do here. The first one, though, attempted by Cipriani. Tackle wasn't complete, so Leicester allowed to carry on with it, and Genge flips it out of the back neatly to Burns. Mullen doing what he can to repel the threat. A renewed Leicester threat. McCaffrey's got through. Deal needed to make that challenge. And Slater once more, who's just been monumental for Leicester. McCaffrey not hanging around with it, and Burns did well.
Staying down.
Haskell's down. He's only been on the pitch for seconds. He may well have knocked himself out.
You can see him trying to wrestle that momentum back from Leicester. Exactly what he's been asked to do.
Gets his head on the wrong side. It's just a slight bit of footwork from Freddie Burns, and he gets his head trapped in the midriff of Burns.
It's that head on hip, isn't it? Saw a couple yesterday.
I didn't see a hold, but I'll work with you on that.
One of the worries about players going lower now is to find more bonier areas in the tackle.
Well, if you go low with your head down, that's a difficult thing.
He gets his head in the wrong place, doesn't he? You're right, his eyes aren't looking at what Burns is doing, so he drifts into the space he's expecting his head to be able to go.
It's the first time in a Wasps shirt since he played in the semi-final away to Exeter at the back end of last season. It's that long since we saw him playing.
Well, this is where the HIA protocol has to come into force, because there's no way in the world James Haskell wants to leave the pitch. After all that time out, all the rehab he's done, he's come on.
There's a question mark whether he should even be allowed an HIA.
Yeah, exactly.
It should just be.
If you look at the video footage, it looks like he's out.
If suspicion he's out cold, regardless of whether he thinks he was out cold, he has to leave the field and not come back on.
If there's any hint that the player's been knocked out, then he has to be off the pitch. And
to me, that's clear.
Yeah.
If that's permanent, send him on, yeah.
Referee just saying, if that's permanent, send the player on who's coming on to replace him.
20's coming on.
I think the discussion is not the start of an HIA, it's just the medics checking that Haskell's neck's okay before they ask him to walk off the field.
James Gaskell is already on Haskell for Gaskell. sadly for Haskell, is permanent, and he's barely been back with us. What a shame for him, but absolutely the right decision is being taken by the Wasps medical team. Doesn't make it any easier for Eddie Jones, however. He's already lost Billy Vunipola. There are question marks about Chris Robshaw, and there are question marks now about James Haskell as well. He's got some issues in the back row growing ahead of the Six Nations.
Yeah, arguably Eddie Jones's biggest test is this first game against France with all those injuries. The Vunipola brothers, we've seen the impact it's had on Sarries, bound to have an impact on England's play.
Oh, the Archbishop of Banterbury, even after being knocked out, a wry smile to the Leicester players. Shaw mentioning how good his comeback was. That's good to see that he's a good person to have around the Premiership, isn't he?
I think Freddie was making the point that that's what happens when you run into me. Right, meantime, back to an increasingly promising situation for Leicester, just when it all looked lost at half-time. What a second half this has been for them. Only the one try, Peter Beetham's, but it's the way they played and the way they put the pressure back on Wasps.
Vital now, the leadership of the Wasps get a grip of this, because this is when those question marks start appearing in the Wasps' mind, that actually, from what we created in the first half, how are Leicester in this game? And they need to wrestle back that momentum, take the sting out of Leicester's tail.
Leicester scrum, and with a new Wasps front row, or at least a new tight head and a new hooker, continues to be as dominant, and they've got a penalty.
Bang in front. They'll look to take the points, take it to 3 points. Who would have thought that with the performance from both sides in the first half?
It's a remarkable turnaround. Whatever Aaron Major said at half-time, it's certainly made a difference. The whole team's come out, look completely different in terms of energy and the quality of play.
It's on the pitch for exactly 35 seconds. Out for 7 months with his toe injury, and then he knocked himself out.
100% tackle record, though.
Yeah, who's in it?
It's good to see him back on his feet and smiling and being James Haskell. My goodness me, Leicester fans who'd given up on this match at half-time, and there may well have been quite a few, they'll be looking at this with a quarter of the game to go, and so will Aaron Major. They're within 3.
Cipriani going long, trying to pin Leicester down in their own 22, make a mistake.
Joe Simpson, as you'll have seen, on for Dan Robson. James Gaskell, one of the other recent replacements, affecting the tackle.
And it's a much better clearance from Ben Youngs. That's the benefit you have. If you don't carry outside the 22, your 9 can clear your lines and off the field. Whereas otherwise, you've got to pass the ball back 20 yards to your 10, so the 10's got to make a 20-yard plus kick. It's always best, I think, not to try and carry back outside the 22 if they kick deep to you.
Gaskell picked up by Cipriani neatly. Thomas Young providing some muscular thrust through the middle. Wasps reset. Simpson, 199th game for him today for the club, and Johnson backs into it. Once more, Thomas Young.
Knee to floor, good work.
Jimmy Gopperth, fast feet. Well, Leicester have won it back. And into space behind Wade. Picked up in the end by Beale. They'll come back for the advantage.
Matt Smith's just gone down holding his knee, but big call from Craig Maxwell-Keys. Often when the ball's kicked away and advantage is there, they'll say the advantage has been played. It was a poor kick from Ben Youngs. Perhaps would have been better to take the penalty straight away, build that momentum that's slowly grown in the second half.
McCaffrey's made a big impact since he's come on, both his ball carrying and his ability over the ball at ruck time. Great turnover in the middle there.
And Charlie Thacker is on for Matt Smith. Charlie Thacker, Harry Thacker's brother. And he only called on to the bench when Jack Roberts pulled out before the game. Thacker now on for Matt Smith. Wasps, by the way, preparing to bring on Simon McIntyre. Big moment for him as well. He's been missing for 3 months. Trying to shore up a scrum that's been going backwards in recent minutes. There he is. Hurt an ankle against Saracens back in October. Once again, Slater. He's been one of Leicester's standout players.
Just a little bit slow to commit there, Wasps. Johnson makes a huge impact when he comes in. It looked like Leicester were getting some momentum. He's done a great job. Now it's about getting the ball back for Leicester, and they haven't done it. Wasps turnover. Brilliant by Johnson.
Carried away by Simpson. Brady gathers, aware that Wade wasn't far away. Mike Williams providing the link, and here goes Thompson, trying to go beyond Gopeth. Gopeth in the end thrust back over the ball.
No, 5, get out.
Kenan Mile needs to be careful. He got back just in time. This is Genge, and this is McCaffrey, and Leicester are beginning to throw it around with Charlie Thacker. Needs to be careful that he doesn't get shuffled into touch, and his feet may well have drifted into touch.
Good defence from Wade. Genge does exceptionally well to ride the huge hit coming in from Ashley Johnson, get the ball away. See, blindsided, sees it coming at the last second, still gets the pass away, good hands. Just needed to step back into Christian Wade a little bit earlier, dragged into touch, but excellent defence from the Wasps winger. Doesn't give up, leg drive's good, he keeps the roll going even after he's on the floor, using that momentum.
Gathered in by Matt Simmons. Joe Launchbury expected back after his calf injury next week against Toulouse, if you weren't with us earlier. Wasps against Toulouse, one of our featured games in Europe on BT Sport next weekend. And here's Simon McIntyre. Matt's back.
Great
in the last 3 months.
Brilliant pressure relieving drive. Now they can box, put pressure on Leicester again.
Brady gathering himself. Over 15 minutes to go, and Leicester have turned this into a contest when it didn't look like being one at half-time. Trailing as they did by 19 points to 3. The battle for the ball on the floor, Ben, though, remains intense, and here goes Wade. Looking to just put a couple of pointers down for Wasps again.
Now the momentum's back with Wasps. As you said, people kicking the ball through breakdowns, then they get the turnover, now they're on the front foot.
Daly. Cipriani. Thompson. Taking on Cole, who drags him down, judo style. That's been lost, but it was lost illegally, and it's going to be a yellow card. Dan Cole was off his feet. He was out of the game, and he involved himself, and it's cost him 10 minutes, and that could be very, very important. The number of yellow cards Leicester have had over the last couple of months. They've now had 8 yellows in the last 9 matches, 17 in 19 overall.
Diving over the top of the breakdown to dislodge that ball. But that all goes back to Wasps' line-out drive when they were deep in their own half. They marched Leicester back nearly 20 metres. Good box kick, good pressure at every single breakdown Leicester have. And then they get the result of a turnover, and under pressure, Dan Cole cracks.
this stage in the first half, Wasps have scored 3 tries. It's taken this long in the second for them to get their first points. Jimmy Gopperth with the penalty, a little bit more breathing space, but not much. 22-16, and we can have a word with David Young. It's interesting all of a sudden, David, isn't it? They've really wrestled their way back into this.
Yeah, they have, and fair play to them on that. They've rattled us in the tackle area, which, you know, we've struggled to get any quick ball, turned the screw a little bit in at set piece time, but we just need to obviously get our hands on the ball, play the game in the right areas, and we should put a bit of pressure back on them, but certainly we can't give them field position and possession.
Are you sending any messages down onto the touchline? What are you saying?
Just pretty much that, Nick. Get our hands on the ball. Let's have confidence in our structures. Let's not look for miracle balls. Forget the little chips and so on. Just go through our structures, and hopefully we'll have opportunities. Exactly just what happened there. We have the ball once, and we come away with a penalty.
And is James Haskell okay? Have you heard what happened to him?
Well, I haven't heard, Nick. Obviously, important things to do here, watching the game. But he looks okay, and obviously a bad bang on the head, but nothing too serious, hopefully.
All right, Di, we'll let you get on. Thank you.
Better defence from Leicester at the ball. They need to make sure they keep the pressure on. Here it comes, the surge from Wasps. The message coming on from Di Young. Turn the screw at the set piece.
Tom Youngs has been replaced by George McWigan, and here goes Robson, looking for perhaps the coup de grace, but it was, again, well read by Brady.
Excellent play from Brady. That so easily could have gone forward towards Simpson. That turns well before the kick, gets on his bike. Very experienced winger. Really easy in this situation when you see someone break towards you to just plant your feet and think, right, I've got to stop him. But watch how quickly he turns. Great offload. Simpson's away, but he's already on his bike. He's already turned, he's already tracking back.
Again, a missed tackle from Ben Youngs round the front of them all. Allows Tom Young to drag in an extra defender, and he gets the offload away. It's a real threat for Wasps around the front of those mauls at the moment.
Once again, Marley Young not hanging around to find Johnson, and it's been intercepted by McCaffrey. A little bit free and easy, a little bit loose from Wasps, and now Leicester trying to control the ball. They've lost it, and it's been picked up by Gopperth, and on they go, and Beale chips through, and it might yet work. The ball's loose, and has Bassett got the decisive touch? Or were Leicester hands there to frustrate him?
Try yes or no, please.
Try yes or no. Okay, that he was taken out.
I'm just going to look at the player in front as well as the ground here, right?
Yes, again, McCaffrey's done all the hard work, hasn't he? He's made a great intercept. Leicester have turned him around. They're in behind all the Wasps defence. Go forward, recycle. They throw 2 circus passes over the top, which could result in a try. Reacts really well, Gopperth. Comes round the outside. Cipriani with a little chip. Just checking he's onside to begin with. They're all onside. That's fine on the outside tackle.
Committed and onside. We're going to look at grounding.
About the grounding.
Oh, no. Will Evans got there first.
Looks like Evans has got back just in time, doesn't it?
So it's back off Leicester.
Yeah. 22 then.
Does it come back off?
Not one more consistency, but looks like, yeah.
That touches it last.
Yeah, I think that's the debate.
Correct.
It's about the restart.
Carried over by Leicester.
Carried over.
Yes, sorry, Craig, I agree, yes.
We agree, 5 minutes from Wasps. No try, carried in by Leicester, it's gone.
Josh Bassett's been the first choice on the left wing for Wasps this season. 7 tries so far. Very nearly 8, very nearly 4th in the Premiership, but not quite the sharp work of Will Evans. Still only 20.
Leicester going to have to decide if they're going to put a back on the scrum or not. Against this Wasps back line, the left-hand side scrum. Best position on the field to attack from.
Pat Cilliers is on. They have sacrificed Charlie Thacker. Graham Kitchener's there to add his weight now in that scrum.
It's full scrum.
George McGuigan. Cilliers to his right.
Full scrum, 6 backs. That means that Evans will be looking to get out as quickly as he can. Penalty originally. What do Wasps do now? Do they put to the corner? Gopper certainly pointing that way.
On the line, please.
What do Leicester do here, Ben? Because they've been driven back relentlessly at maul time from lineouts. Do they jump to compete? Do they sack the lifter straight away?
I used to like to compete as much as possible, because as you come down, there's always a chance you can fall between where Wasps are trying to set it up. Sometimes you just risk not going up if you don't get that timing quite right and you allow the team to set up.
And Wasps have thrown all 3 of the previous ones to 2 in the line out as well.
We're going to start with some space.
2 in the line out at the moment.
Just hold them on you, please.
It's Guy Thompson, which is where they went just then.
Don't step in at the front.
Kiernan Mile the option in the middle, and then James Gaskell at the back. Miles taken the bulk of their line-outs in this match, but again it's Thompson, and Ashley Johnson wraps himself around, and now they try the collective effort to get the ball over the line and finish this match. Craig Maxwell-Key's looking to see what he can see, and he sees a ball held up.
He makes the call. But the ball wasn't grounded. Leicester in a real defensive effort, because they knew they weren't going to be able to stop by pushing, so that means you have to get your body underneath. Look at Ellis Genge, just held up slightly there, a little bit high, Genge, and they get underneath him just about now, and then it's about shaping your body to try and fall with the ball on top of you. The referee not satisfied it was grounded, didn't feel it was worthy of a look. Big scrum.
You can get your head in there.
Wasps put in. So Simpson put in. Things being equal, will play his 200th game for the club here next weekend against Toulouse. Whether he's a winner or not will depend entirely on the remaining 8 minutes here.
We need stability first. Marcher, be clear with your points, and then stability from you.
What a big scrum for not just the likes of Graham Kitchener, but Simon McIntyre as well. He's not been involved in this kind of thing for 3 months, and he's straight back in the middle of the fight.
But again, it's what we were talking about in the first half when Wasps were driving. The threat, the immediate threat to Leicester is the scrum, but as soon as they overcommit in trying to stop that, you've got the threat of Cipriani in behind.
Big moment. Big moment. Leicester, penalty at the scrum.
Backwards to ground.
Well, Ellis Genge taking the pats on the back.
Ellis Genge is already on Eddie Jones' radar. It's not part of the latest squad, but it's moments like this that have earned his reputation.
He's really taken. It isn't Ellis Genge that goes down first, but he's certainly put an angle in that's made it extremely difficult for Swainson to stay up. See that left hip just drifting out slightly. The left shoulder dropping.
It's been lost, but it's because there was contact in the air. And Mike Williams gets back to his feet, and Leicester still have possession. It's great to see him playing again after the arm injury that kept him out for so long.
That was a fumble in the air from Williams. He wanted to stay up there a long time to try and gather the ball. Is it his lifters? They squeeze together in the air. Again, for me, that's a competition. In fact, Ed Slater has thrown him so high, he's almost lost control of him in the air. If you've got 2 guys going for the same ball, maybe Gaskell's arm I couldn't quite see there, gets onto Williams. Again, they hold him high.
Wasps might consider themselves a little bit unfortunate there. And Leicester, though, with the penalty.
I actually think that one was worse from Wasps. In the desperation to get across the line, there was probably more contact underneath Williams, but...
Youngs. Beetham, he's almost gone through, and more in this second half. Leicester are starting to find softer holes in this Wasps defence. Gopeth and Johnson try to stiffen that one up. And Genge and Williams. This is George Worth. McCaffrey into the final 5 minutes. What a final 5 we have ahead of us in this newly minted Midlands derby. It's been lost, and Thompson tries to come away with it. It was George Worth with the slippery hands.
That ball's out.
Touch advantage over. Thank you, Tony.
Advantage gone. Freddie Burns and Tom Brady reset. Brady beyond the 10-metre line, and again they're making ground in the tackle, Leicester.
It's exactly what they weren't doing in the first half, isn't it?
Once more it's Beetham who's become more influential as this match has gone on. He's going across the pitch and he has to involve Thompson now. A lot of Wasp shirts there, but Leicester snap enough to win it back. Burns. Oh, once again. Oh dear, this time young Will Evans.
Driving home those opportunities. Wasps just simply in the first half didn't make those sort of mistakes with their handling. Good ability to get their hands free. Beetham does well to get back under pressure, moves Cipriani. Maybe the eyes just coming up to see where Wade was before the ball was in the breadbasket.
So much to admire in the Aviva Premiership this weekend. So many talking points, all the red card hullabaloo yesterday. If you missed anything, we've got the highlights tonight on BT Sport 3. Rugby tonight, make mention of, ahead of Europe next weekend. Tom Varndell and Ron Pienaar in our studio in Stratford on Wednesday evening, and then half a dozen live matches over the course of next weekend, beginning on Friday with Bristol against Bath in the Challenge Cup. Wasps to lose here Saturday, Racing Leicester. We've also got Toulon Sale and Exeter against Ulster. So much to look forward to in Europe, but so much still to complete here at the Ricoh in the Premiership. Leicester back to a full complement of 15.
Yeah, Thacker back on, Cole stayed off. Cilliers will be charged with getting the result at the scrum. They don't manage it, that one. Wasps getting the free kick, so they can't kick directly to touch. Cipriani just discussing whether to go for another scrum or to put this one into the air. Goes with the latter.
At the moment, Leicester are getting a losing bonus point. Wasps are getting the win, but no try-scoring bonus point. But there's still a little bit more meat on this bone, you suspect. Wasps got used to picking up winning 4-5 winning bonus points this season, but Leicester looking for much more than a losing one here as McGuigan takes it on. And then Genge coming in forcefully to clear that out. Here's Kitchener running into Simpson. Genge again, protecting the ball.
Don't chase the line with the ball.
For Youngs. Had a little go, tried to nick in between Swainston and Gaskell, but there was nothing doing. McCaffrey. 90 seconds to go of another compelling conversation between these two greats of English rugby. This is Worth.
Wasps got two players down here, both Gopeth and Elliot Daly, both heading for the blind side. Gopeth's cut. Thompson
working his way up to the edge of the Coventry City penalty box. McCaffrey again straightens it, and again makes an extra metre or two where he might not have gone, and then again they lose the ball in a promising situation. This time it's Beetham, and another opportunity goes begging, and that might be the last opportunity.
Second one on the run, eyes off the ball, space out wide, Leicester right on the front foot with the opportunity to go for the winning try. McCaffrey's made a big difference to Leicester after he's come on, he's carrying a quick ball. There you go, eyes taken off. So frustrating when that happens.
One last scrum for Wasps to be able to ride out, offered getting treatment.
It's Elliot Daly who's taking a little bit of treatment. Sam Harrison has come on meantime for Ben Youngs, and that's the reason for the need for treatment. Daly and Gopperth clashing heads.
Well, we mentioned it on Rugby Tonight, I think a few weeks ago. New directives means you both want to go low. You both go low, and you both, and an attacker runs in between you, and you both hit with the right shoulder, your heads are going to come round the far side of the ball carrier.
I think that might be in Barrington's mind yesterday, is if he goes any lower, there's a good chance that he takes a head collision with Brad Barrett.
I'm not entirely sure who you're going to pick here, but it's time for the Aviva Premiership Man of the Match.
It's really tough. It's in your archetypical game of two halves. Good performances on both sides, but for me, the guy that stood out has been the man who's been playing well all season for Wasps. That man, Thomas Young, superb in the loose. Always a threat when he pops out of those mauls. He's our Aviva Man of the Match.
He's not added to his tally of tries today, and he's had 4 in the last 5 games, but what he's been doing elsewhere in the Manchester.
Yeah, what looks like a losing performance as well. Ed Slater for Leicester has had a monumental effort. He'll be hoping that Leicester can go away with at least a losing bonus point.
Josh Bassett has gone off for a head injury assessment. Second half metres made, 245, over twice as many Leicester carries, almost 3 times as much gain line success. Statistical confirmation of how much better Leicester have been in the second 40. Here goes Thompson. Time's up. Just a little bit more muscle work, and Wasps can end it here and make sure they head into the break for Europe and the Anglo-Welsh Cup top of the pile once more. Once more they have leapfrogged Saracens, but after scoring 3 tries in the opening half an hour, what a dogfight. Ed Slater and Aaron Majors, Leicester get them over the remaining hour. Peter Beetham's try pulled Tigers right back into the contest. In the end, they have to settle for the losing bonus point. But signs of encouragement in the Aaron Major Tigers era. Further confirmation that Wasps are very much the real deal. Final score here at the Ricoh, 22 points to 16.
Yeah, I was fearful for Leicester before the game that if they didn't manage to get an arm wrestle style game, this is a side that could tear them to pieces. That was shown in the first half. But what resilience from the Tigers to come back with all that's happened this week and to be within 1 score at the end of the game with Wasps, their hearts in their mouths. But this Wasps side looked like the real deal.
Yeah, Wasps were immense in the first 20. It looked impossible for Leicester to find a way back into the game. They went in at half-time. They came out with a fighting spirit that a certain ex-coach probably watching back on his couch at home will be proud of. Something that you could argue instilled within that team. Aaron Major will help develop them on months to come. But Richard Cockerell certainly helped with that fighting spirit that they showed in the second half.
It was. You're absolutely right, Oz. It was a Cockerell-type final 60 minutes from Leicester. In the end, not enough, due largely to the work of our man of the match, Thomas Young, who is now with Martin. Well, Thomas Young, many congratulations. I bet you were praying for that final whistle to be blown.
Yeah, the last 10 minutes we didn't help ourselves. We didn't play the right age of the field in the first of Leicester. They kept coming back there, so they've had a tough week and we knew he was coming, but our first half was good, but we've got to look at our second half and make sure we're playing the right age on the field, and we didn't help ourselves. So.
Well, you're gasping for breath there, but Leicester Tigers came at you really hard in that second half. What were they doing in that second half that they weren't doing to you in the first?
They got a bit quicker ball second half, and they come at us hard in the breakdown. We spoke about it all week. They picked 2 sevens in the back row, so we knew we were going to come at us hard. And it took us about 20 minutes into the second half to wake up and realise we had to stop them getting over our ball.
Well, you got the win, that's the crucial thing, and you got another one of these. You're getting a good collection of them. You're the Aviva man of the match. Well done.
Yeah, well deserved too. What a great game of rugby that was. We thought Wasps were going to have it all their own way after the first half, but no, great fight back from the Leicester Tigers. Let's have a look at all the results now. Round 13 is all done and dusted, and it started with a brilliant result for Newcastle, a brilliant result for our guest today, Dave Walder. A win for Newcastle Falcons, 24 points to 22 over Bath. And there you go, a big win for Gloucester over Worcester, 55-19, 7 tries in total. A draw yesterday, of course, the red card, the talking point at Allianz Park between Saracens and Exeter. A big day for Tim Sweel, 24 points to the Harlequins' 10's name, 29-26 it finished up against Sale, and Northampton grinding one out over an ever-improving Bristol, and a great game as you saw here. Highlights, 10:15 tonight. This is how the table look. Wasps do take the top spot. 51 points, just 10 points away from the average usually needed to make the playoffs in the Aviva Premiership. They are motoring along very nicely indeed, but as you can see, mid-table, actually all the way down, is absolutely ram-packed. The Premiership takes a break for a month now because we're off on a European odyssey. You don't have to leave your sofa, stay with us because we'll bring you all the action on BT Sport. It starts on Saturday, 2:45, BT Sport 2. We're here again at the Ricoh, another huge crowd. Wasps against Toulouse, all the stars of French rugby over for that one. Then we have Racing 92 against Leicester that night, 7:30. A busy old Sunday. Lawrence Delalio, Brian O'Driscoll in the BT studio for this one. Bordeaux against Clermont, Toulon against Sale, and we finish up with a crucial game for Ulster, who are still in with a chance of making the knockout stages of the Champions Cup. Exeter against Ulster finishes it all off on BT Sport 2 at 5:15. Well, there you have it. Wasps unbeaten in 19 games here at the Ricoh Arena, and they are moving along very nicely indeed. All the reaction when we return.
Warm-ups are extremely important because you've got to get those muscles working, especially in these cold temperatures.
So tell me what makes the Bet Victor accumulator so special then?
I could, but better that an art dealer does that for me.
Whether I'm putting together a collection of art or a selection of bets, I want to get the best possible price I can for them. Simple. Bet Victor are the only bookmaker that offer a price guarantee on 5-fold plus accumulators and pay the difference in cash if a leading bookmaker offered better odds.
Environment. Driving becomes so instinctive that you feel at one with the world around you.
Build your own R2-D2, the ultimate interactive droid with voice recognition, sensors and remote control. Issue one out now for just $2.99.
Voyage Privé. Save up to 70% off on 4- and 5-star holidays. Join voyageprivé.com now.
World of personalized sports news, live notifications and up-to-the-minute scores at your fingertips. Download the ESPN app now.
Oh no. Sometimes we have to pay for things we don't actually like. But there is an upside to everything.
Bring me sunshine in your smile.
You could get 5% cashback on all purchases.
All the while.
Even the ones that didn't go to plan. The American Express Platinum Cashback Everyday Credit Card. Search Amex Cashback.
Day 3, the Aegean, and while some shipmates laze around like Greek gods, we embark on a Greek odyssey.
500 BC.
That's a long time to hold your stomach in. Day 5, kick back and do nothing, or do nothing and kick back. Tough choice. Black tie night, and it's time to party. If I'd known, I'd have brought my own. Full steam ahead, I say.
P&O Cruises.
This is the life.
At or protected.
Everyone is dreaming of Wembley. Cup fever sweeps through the town. Anything can happen in the third round. Come on, embrace the cliches. It's why we love it. The FA Cup, live on BT Sport 2 and BT Sport 4K UHD.
There's only one home of world darts, where legends are made. See the legends of today. The BDO World Championships continues tonight, live on BT Sports.
Leicester Tigers united in defeat. It's been a tough week at Welford Road. Richard Cockrell has left the club. Aaron Major has taken over, but they played so well in that second half. They were 19-3 down at half-time, which showed typical Leicester Tigers fight back. It finished 22 points to 16. The Tigers had a chance to win it. There were opportunities, but Wasps ground out the victory in the second half. Foundations laid in the first. Christian Wade, the first try, 7-0. Up stepped Tommy Taylor, working off the back of a lovely line-out driving maul. 12-0 after he scored this one. A really good effort. And then we thought it was done and dusted. Dan Robson absolutely sniping in after some really great attacking play for Wasps, cutting outside Dan Cole. 19-0. And none of us thought the fight back would come. And what a fight back it was. We're in the bar here above the main stand, and a lot of exhausted but very happy Wasps fans, I'd imagine, after that performance. Great entertainment for all and sundry. A lot of Leicester Tiger fans travelled the short trip these days across over to the Ricoh for this one today. Incredible Dave Walder, though, when you look at the many statistics for this game. But the one that really stands out, in the second half, Leicester Tigers had 68% of the possession.
And that was the telling factor. First half, they couldn't get a foothold in the game. Wasps repelled absolutely everything that Leicester threw at them. Leicester were quite loose, and Wasps were, as we know, very accurate in their attack. Second half, complete change. Absolutely complete change. Leicester very abrasive, very aggressive and very direct. And the Wasps couldn't keep the intensity up that they showed in the first half. Started to fall off tackles, and momentum's a funny thing. Leicester got momentum. And kept going, and in the end just came up a bit short, but it was a great turnaround from half-time. Nick Mullins hinted at it in commentary there. Richard Cockrell would have been sitting on the sofa going, get in their faces, boys, get stuck into them. That's kind of how they undid Wasps' attack, really, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, every breakdown, every stoppage in play, there was a Leicester guy on the front foot grabbing hold of the Wasps guy, letting him know that they were in a battle and they weren't going to roll over and let Wasps get that bonus point that I assume they probably thought they were going to get 25 minutes into the game. It was good to see. It made for a great game, and 28,000 people. I mean, it's good for rugby. 19-3 down at half-time. You've got to go back to your basics when you're losing at that stage. You've got to go back to where you're strong. And Leicester Tigers went back to the set piece, to the scrum. 100% record there today. Really strong performance from the pack. Yeah, I think a really impressive show from Ellis Genge and Dan Cole before he went off sin bin. A couple of key turning points. You know, there was a chance towards the end of the game for Wasps to get back in it with a scrum. Leicester won the penalty to relieve pressure, but as we're seeing here, every scrum, Leicester on the front foot, just making the Wasps front five work a little bit harder than they maybe had to do in the first half, and certainly tiredness in the Wasps lads showed as they started to fall off those tackles that first half they've been making.
They started with a nice bit of niggle as well and the odd bit of handbags, which was great. They just needed to ruffle Wasps up a bit because they were kind of cruising, weren't they, in that first half?
Yeah, I don't think they could get hold of them in the first half. I don't think there were the opportunities. When Wasps would have a play and then kick long, and Leicester weren't that accurate in their reception of the high ball and kept letting Wasps get on the front foot very easily. Second half, it was a much slower, turgid from a point of view of speed of the game, and it suited Leicester down to the ground.
Well, a difficult start for Aaron Major, no doubt about that, but they got close. I wonder how he's feeling about that when he's with Babes.
Aaron, I can only imagine how tumultuous this week has been for everyone concerned with Leicester Tigers. You didn't get the win today, but did you get the performance? Did you get the character that you were looking for?
Yeah, I think we got a good response from the lads. We've made it tough on ourselves in that first 20 minutes. We probably weren't smart enough, but I thought the character come through in that last 60 to get ourselves back into the game.
Was there a message that made the performance change from the players, or was it the character of the players out on the pitch that did it for them?
I think once they got a sniff, we started to control a bit of set piece there. The scrum was going well. We fronted up physically, and all those things started to click. And I think the boys started to believe that they could get a result there. So they just fed off that and put ourselves into a situation where we potentially could have won the game.
Huge pressure come to the end of that game. A yellow card for Dan Cole. Is it too much to say? To ask the question? Did that lose the game for you?
Oh no, I think probably going back to the first 20 minutes, we probably didn't need to be in that situation where we were chasing the game so early. I think we probably could have been a little bit smarter with controlling territory. We probably could have put the ball off the park a few more times early on, and then when we got down to Wasps 22, we probably didn't capitalise enough early.
Aaron, thanks for your time.
Cheers.
Interesting there from Aaron Major. He knows it was a difficult first half for them. Most of the damage done in the first 20 minutes.
Absolutely. I think the bounce back, when they look at it in the cold light of day, they'll be quite happy with. But they knew what was coming with Wasps. They knew what they had to manage in terms of the game plan, and they didn't manage it. Partly because of Wasps' superb play. So, for me, I think they'll probably see that as a win because it could have gone horrifically the other way.
Very impressive, all the same from Wasps. We knew they could do the fancy stuff. We saw that in the first half. To see that kind of grit and grind from them in the second was impressive, wasn't it?
I think that's something that will really please them. To be in control of a game and have a side like Leicester come back at you slowly, momentum turn. Losing James Haskell on the pitch for 35 seconds. There's a lot of people happy to see him back, and for him to be going off was possibly a bit of a kick in the teeth for them. But they managed to handle that, and the rearguard action at the end there when Leicester had momentum to halt it and then come back and actually close the game out relatively comfortably. They'll be really pleased about that.
And we'll see how comfortable Dai Young felt about it all. He's with Babes.
Well, Di, in that first half you turned the volume up to 11. In the second half you were muted a little bit by Leicester Tigers. What went well in the first half that didn't work in the second?
Well, obviously we had plenty of opportunities in the first half, created quick ball, and as we all talk about, on quick ball we can be devastating. I thought we lacked a lot of composure and patience in the first half because we could have put it out of sight in the first half really. And we all know how proud side the Tigers are, and if you give them any momentum, they're going to come back at you. And pretty much the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, we talked about being disciplined. We talked about obviously keeping hold of the ball, and we didn't either really. And then obviously Leicester got their tails up, and as I said, and you're biting the nails right towards the end.
You would have had a game plan, you would have had an idea when you want to bring players onto the field of play. You brought James Haskell on, he lasted a minute, there were other injuries. Was the second half one of disruption from Tigers, but also disruption from your personnel?
Yeah, a little bit, but we do everything as a squad. So as I said, we keep on talking about the strength of our squad. So we're certainly not going to point to that. But you've got to give Leicester credit. I thought they really attacked the contact area. Obviously, set piece went against us. I felt half the penalties were justified. Some of them were just perceptions, which went against us. But when people keep telling the world that they've got a good scrum, they're going to get 50-50s, really. So a little bit disappointed in that, but I just think you've got to give them a lot of credit. They were really ferocious at the tackle area, carried really strongly, and we were biting on nails right at the end, really. So as I say, old cliche, game of two halves. I thought we were well on top first half. The second half, we were probably just clinging on.
Well, you got the victory. Well done. Thanks for talking to us.
Cheers.
Well, you said it there. Dominant Leicester scrum, largely down to Dan Cole, who had a great game in the set piece, which brings us to one of the key moments, Ben. 66 minutes, 19-16, Leicester on the rise. and then there was that moment from Dan Cole and a yellow card and the penalty for Wasps afterwards.
Yeah, he's not trying to be illegal here. He's trying to compete for the ball. He gets up, he sees an opportunity, but he almost gets held legally so by the Wasp man and dives over the top. So it's a clear yellow card. Perhaps in circumstances like that, it just shows the pressure Leicester were on at that stage, that when pressure's on, people crack and they make wrong decisions, rash wrong decisions. Coley will probably be a bit disappointed with himself there.
Temptation is to talk about Leicester considering what they've been through, and they'll take a lot from that second half performance. How about Wasps? What will they take from this when it comes to really taking on Saracens and going for the title this year?
Another win, another good attacking patchy in the game, and a good half-forward win. Leeds sets them up well for the European and onwards.
How about Leicester Tigers? How will the next week be after the turmoil of last week?
I think they will try and use the confidence from that second half when they could have fallen away as almost an ability to pull everyone together and show that they can be strong as a squad. When they stick to a game plan, they know that everyone's working into the same direction. They've shown they can have some success in the second half there. What they can't have is when people are doing different things and going off plan, which is what happened in the first half.
All in all, a really entertaining game of rugby, though, so I hope you all enjoyed it home. Dave, congratulations with everything you do in Newcastle at the moment. We'll see you very soon indeed. I hope you enjoyed round 13. It was absolutely brilliant. You can relive all the best bits on BT Sport 3 tonight at 10:15. But from all of us here, until we see you in Europe next week, take care and bye-bye.
Washing the jerseys or looking after their rugby gears, we support them throughout the season in playing.
The Blues head to the King Power. Will Conte be numero uno come May? Or can Ranieri's men show what champions are made of? Leicester v Chelsea, Saturday at 5, exclusively live on BT Sport.
So tell me what makes the Bet Victor accumulator so special then?
I could, but better that an art dealer does that for me.
Whether I'm putting together a collection of art or a selection of bets, I want to get the best possible price I can for them. Simple. Bet Victor are the only bookmaker that offer a price guarantee on 5-fold plus accumulators and pay the difference in cash if a leading bookmaker offered better odds. Exquisite.
Cage is back.
A device that controls every satellite in the world has fallen into the wrong hands.
The world needs saving.
Let's tell them how we do it. Damn, it feels good to be back.
What makes a car not just beautiful, but beautifully made? Is it the engineering, the precision finish, the detailing, the handling? Or is it the way it makes you feel? SEAT's beautifully created winter drive is now on. Download a voucher at seat.co.uk to get an extra £1,000 off.
SEAT.
That's the place! Turn left! Right now!
Wow! Can I help at all?
We heard you give rewards to some customers, and now seem like the perfect time to pop by. Right, Scoob?
Yeah, Raggy. That's right. As a reward current account customer, you can get money back from the types of places you like to shop. And eat.
Eat? Yum! Boy, he was right, Scoob. That was delicious. Raggy. Yikes! Right, Scoob! Goodbye.
Nice work, guys.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you?
Marcus, you called Direct Line exactly 2 hours and 37 minutes ago. You've got an uncontrollable leak, and you've tried to stop it yourself. The bad news is that Joey here is going to have to remove your ball cock. Huh? The good news is that Joey's an emergency plumber, and that's covered under your Direct Line Home Plus insurance. I'll leave you two to it.
Take one.
Marker.
I see a lot of splotches and red spots. It's pretty sad to see that. It's pretty sad to look in the mirror and see my face full of blemishes. It just makes me feel kind of self-conscious. It's just out to get me. That's what it's always felt like. I just feel like it comes back no matter what I do. This will be Brent, take one.
European.
Mounier to his left as Boudebouz runs at the heart of the PSG rearguard and gets the shot away, and Boudebouz scores, and Montpellier will win this game. It's Riyad Boudebouz's 7th of the season.
Oh, it's given away, talking of Tame and Cavani! With a stunner to light up the Parc des France and send Paris Saint-Germain on their way to 3 points.
Pereira wins it back. Isanek looking to lay it up for a teammate perhaps. Balotelli. Oh! Outstanding from Mario Balotelli. He's done it again.
It's Maxime Lopez feeding Florian Thauvin. Gomes in the middle. Thauvin goes for it himself. Fabulous goal. Wonderful strike from Florian Thauvin, who scores at the velodrome at last.
And Tep on the left-hand side. Saeed calling for it. It's Saeed! Oh, yes! Terrific finish. And Tep with a perfect ball. And Wesley Saeed with a confident finish to be Thomas Didion. And it's Rennes that lead by a goal to nil.
Short passes on, but again Lichtsteiner in. Pjanic going for the header. Khedira challenged. Higuain! Well, easy. My word, 2 touches, 2 goals, one better than the other.
Yellow strikes it! Absolutely brilliantly. A stunning free kick from Mato Yayalo. And for just the 11th time this season, Palermo have managed to score a goal.
Bresci on the switch. Here comes Verdi. What a goal that is by Simone Verdi. They're all talking about him here suddenly. The player on loan from Milan endears himself to the Bologna support.
Pjanic taking the run up and scores. Pjanic brings Juventus back into the game.
Suso, Abate. Will it drop to Bacca? No, it doesn't. Bonaventura, very good block. Still they come, and what an effort! A fabulous goal! And this game has been turned on its head. Suso with an unbelievable strike.
Cute little ball over the top to Gnabry, and what a finish that is. Bremen have a goal that's only going to be a consolation, but it is some goal. Serge Gnabry's first for his new club.
Lining this one up. Something from the training ground, he's gone for it.
Oh, that's one of the goals of the season! Marcel Rissa